Right, so staying in the NFL, we just finally got our last three coaches in the saddle. We got Dennis Allen taking over the reins for the New Orleans Saints. We got Mike McDaniels taking over the head coaching duties for the Miami Dolphins. And where you been at, Lovie? We got Lovie Smith making his return for his third stint as an NFL head coach with the Houston Texans. So Jay, last three coaches feel. I know this is probably not your favorite subject, but it's been a big thing about race. So we got two white guys and one black guy. Just gonna throw that on out there. With that said, of these three coaches, which coach has the best situation of the three latest hires?
Just looking through real quick. Isn't there? I thought there was there one more opening that hadn't been filled, or is it just Minnesota? And we know they're going to hire O'Connell. Is that the
Yeah,
last one?
I think it's just Minnesota,
Just
and
O'Connell. Okay.
we've been holding off on that, just
Okay.
waiting for the official announcement.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So the question was who's in the best position?
Yeah, who has the best situation of the three?
Okay. I also, you know what? Since you brought up the issue of race, I'll just get in it. You said there are two white guys and a black guy.
Okay, Mike. Okay, I know where you're going with this.
Tell me about it.
Mike McDaniels is mixed. Okay, I know that. I do know he's mixed.
So
I'm
what?
sorry about that.
So what? So does it? So okay, but this is a classic case of where I need help. So tell me, does in the equity agenda and the NFL trying to diversify, does that count?
No, I don't think so.
Oh my gosh!
I don't listen. If I was voting, yes, anything other than Caucasian is considered a minority. Don't beat me up, folks. That's how the military got me trained. When we go and circle our ethnic groups and all that, that's how they put it. Anything other than Caucasian is a minority. So yes, he is a minority. I just don't think his hire will move the needle as far as saying, oh, there we go. We're getting it a little more even now. When you look at him, it's kind of, you're looking at him, you're like,
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So aesthetically, and I had no idea. Like I didn't. Of course, like some of these coordinators who if they this guy was an offensive coach and he worked for Kyle Shanahan. So this guy it's not like Robert Saleh. Like we knew what he was.
right.
I didn't know this guy from anybody because Kyle Shanahan's in charge of that offense. So
Right.
now Cody actually the first one that sent me a picture of the guy, and I didn't even know what he was talking about. And he was like, "This dude is whiter than you and me," and I'm like, because most guys that I see that are mixed, like they lean black to me, like when you look at them.
Right.
And this guy, he kind of, I'm not sure. I mean, I guess he could be, but look, anyway, as far as we had to get in there on that. But anyway, I will say we're doing a segment where you have 2 out of 3 minority head coaches, so maybe that's progress. I don't know,
Right.
but I do look as far as who's in the best situation. Let's just get the one who is just doesn't belong in that. Good luck, Lovie Smith. Good luck. And maybe I'll come back to that at some point. So you look at the other two. I think there's arguments for Mike McDaniel, and I think you might have one, but I think I got to go Dennis Allen. I think the Saints have a really good foundation. I know Sean Payton had that thing. Sean Payton built up a really good program. Dennis Allen, to me, if he can come in and kind of just keep them moving along, they do got to count. The one big thing, they still feeling the effects of Drew Brees' retirement, I think. So the question is, how do you move forward? Does Jameis Winston, remember, Jameis Winston played pretty well for him before he got hurt. Do you bring him back? What about Taysom Hill? Does he go back to the Swiss Army knife role? And yeah, I don't think we need to talk about Trevor Siemian. He can still have a roster spot, but forget about the rest of it. But Dennis Allen, Dennis Allen is actually a retread. But the thing I like about it is Dennis Allen coached for the Raiders 10 years ago. He was 8-28. It was horrible. I didn't think before he got the job, he had only been a coordinator for 1 year with the Denver Broncos. That was the Tim Tebow season. So I was of the mindset when he got hired by the Raiders, I was kind of confused. Why this seems like a little bit quick, and as it turned out, it looked like it was. Now the thing about it, he spent the last 6-7 years as a Saints defensive coordinator. So it's not one of them situations where you have a Dan Quinn got fired and then he's immediately like, oh, this guy's the hottest thing smoking off the head coaching trees and all this. No, Dennis Allen.
He was the defensive coach of the year, or the coach of the year, however that
Was
goes.
he really? Was he really? Was that at the NFL honors that I didn't watch? Who was the offensive coordinator of the year?
I don't even. I'll get back to you on that one.
Why did we even digress to this? We are all over the place today. But yeah, but Dennis Allen, I think my point is Dennis Allen is a retread, but I feel like at this stage he's more suited to be a head coach. He's more seasoned. And the Saints defense, for the past several years, when I talk about the Saints, I've been talking about their defense and how well they play. So I like this move. I like the idea of in this situation, you got a qualified guy who's, maybe could they have got a better hire? Maybe they could have, but hey, we like what we have right here. The coach that's been around for the past 15 years, he went in here and hung it up. He got a trusted assistant in here. He does have head coaching experience. Hopefully he didn't learn from what happened with the Raiders. And remember the Raiders, I mean, that's a tough place. That's a tough place to coach. Right. There was the period after John Gruden, the Raiders didn't win anything. So we got to remember that. So it ain't like Dennis Allen, the only coach that didn't succeed with the Raiders. So I think Dennis Allen in a good position. Of course, the bigger question mark is you got to solidify the quarterback position. We also got to, I don't know if that's something that's going to linger, but the legal troubles of one Alvin Kamara. I guess we got to pay attention to that now. I don't know what it is. These guys go to Las Vegas and it's just a clown show, just each and every way. They moved the franchise to Vegas, then the Pro Bowl's in Vegas, and everybody just lost their damn mind. Incredible. So I think it's Dennis Allen. Mike McDaniel, he got a shot. I think he has a chance because the Dolphins, they have some things. I'm not sold on Mike McDaniel for a couple reasons. Number one, I just think the Dolphins are, I think we've seen this. They're just not a very impressive organization. I don't like the owner, Stephen Ross. If there's a shred of truth to the Brian Flores allegations as far as losing on purpose, that's a huge problem. So I hope Mike McDaniel had a nice talk with the owner and they got to understand that, hey, we want to win and we want to win today. That's a big deal. The thing about Mike McDaniel, and this goes back to my Dennis Allen point, Mike McDaniel, that resume look a little thin. I must say, you got one season as a coordinator, and it was under Kyle Shanahan, so that's Kyle Shanahan's offense. It's not like Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh got the head coaching job because that defense, that 49ers defense was Robert Saleh's defense. So not that it can't work. We've seen, Andy Reid's had some good coaches. Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl. He was a coordinator for Andy Reid. Matt Nagy, for what it's worth, he won a division title. Zach Taylor worked for Sean McVay. Now he's in the Super Bowl, gonna play against Sean McVay. So we have that. So it's not like it can't happen. But still, one season as a coordinator. And then outside of that, he was the 49ers run game coordinator for 4 years. And then you just kind of have, offensive assistant and wide receivers coach, get some miscellaneous job. I think he may have been part of the past tense, the Redskins coaching staff when they had LaFleur's and the Shanahans and the McVays. I think he was there at that particular time. So that's another dude that Jay Gruden had. It's just the jokes write themselves at this point. But I think that's a tough ask. They also kind of been in between. Like we got Tua, but Flores wanted Deshaun Watson, and that had, maybe that was part of some of the friction there. You have that, but we know the offense. Mike McDaniel, he got some work to do for that offense, because I thought Tua showed like that winning streak. He showed that he can play, but they got to do a little bit better around him. I mean, that running back core of theirs, like Myles Gaskin and Lindsey and somebody named Ahmed, and it just goes on and on. Devontae Parker out most of the year. I think a healthy Devontae Parker And Jalen Waddle, obviously, we know he can play. Gesicki is a pretty decent tight end, but that offensive line, they absolutely have to be better. The defense, there's a lot of talent there, but like I think losing Flores, like, can you get a defensive coach in there who can be as creative as Brian Flores was? So there's a lot of questions. I think Miami's an interesting job. I think you can have success there, but I do think it's a little bit of an uphill battle, particularly with, look, what does it say about Miami that they fired a dude who had back-to-back winning seasons for the first time since 2003, and he didn't get to keep his job? So that's a problem for me. It's going to be tough. I think it's going to be tough for Mike McDaniel. And look, Lovie Smith, first of all, like Houston, I don't know what happened to him. This almost, who looks good for once? Like Bill O'Brien looks good. Because at least Bill O'Brien did something. Until Houston messed up when they refused to hire a GM. They let Bill O'Brien do both, and then he out here putting DeAndre Hopkins on the clearance rack. So you had that, and then then you actually hired the GM Caserio, and now we looking at him and like, what is Nick Caserio running the equity program? Deshaun Watson, well, hey man, I want a black head coach, and they didn't want to do it, and then actually. Oh, here's David Culley. Here's your token coach. Are they doing the same thing? I have to say, look, I like Lovie Smith, but Drink, you tell me, what has Lovie Smith done in the past 15 years? 5 of the last 6 seasons he was in Chicago, they didn't make the playoffs. Then he goes to the Bucks. They didn't do nothing. He went to Illinois to coach for 5 years. They didn't do nothing. And I know that's Illinois, so that's a tough place to win. But Drink, he got the Texans brought him in to be the defensive coordinator and the associate head coach. So that tells you how real David Culley was. And so he comes back in the NFL for 1 season, and now he gets another job. I don't know. I don't know. Lovie Smith's getting his 3rd job. So that does put a little bit of a dent in the idea, and maybe it's because Brian Flores has put the NFL back under the microscope. So now some of these teams are like, hey, y'all got an opening? Hey, make sure you're taking these black candidates seriously. All right, so I don't, but that's why when you focus so much on things like race, now it makes me wonder: did Lovie Smith get hired because of his resume and his qualifications and all that, or did he get hired to check a box?
I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It sure feeling like a check in the box for me. I listen. Of the situations here, Lovie Smith is by far the worst. Listen, this is 3rd NFL stint. You just named it off. He ain't been a winner yet. The only thing winning is that beard. Like everything else is I don't know. It's one of those things where, like, come on, man, you just can't take any job. But then, now that I think about it, if this Lovie Smith 3rd time, hell, we was over here crying about coaches getting a 2nd. This is 3rd. I guess maybe you do got to take whatever job if this your 3rd time around the old NFL tree. So, I don't know. I don't see much coming out of this. When your quarterback is David Mills, which he wasn't the worst option, but he ain't Deshaun Watson. It's 2 types of coaches in the NFL. I say this all the time. I heard this before, and it's true. 2 type of coaches: a coach that has a quarterback and a coach that don't. And the one that don't usually get fired. Lovie Smith will be out of here in 2 years, if not 1 again, because that's how we roll. So I don't know. I haven't seen one thing in his resume that made me believe he deserved his job over Brian Flores. Not one thing in his resume. Unless you want to hit me with the experience, that's about all you got for me. And it ain't been a lovely experience either. But that's for another day. Now to the other 2 guys, yes, I'm gonna go against the grain here. I think Mike McDaniel's had the best situation, but let me hit on Dennis Allen first. Listen, man. It's something to be said about coming to replace, let's say, a legend or a legendary, coach, or a franchise-changing coach. we could say that Sean Payton was that, right?
Yeah.
So my problem is Dennis Allen was what I would call a safe pick for head coach because of what you said. He's been defense coordinator for 10 years. Everybody know him. Probably know the inner workings of the Mercedes-Benz or stadium, arena, whatever it's called. He probably know the guy that cleans the seats after the game. He probably know the people that lay down that fresh turf. He know the old lady in front that's welcoming everybody in the morning. I say all that because I think when you look at it like that, Dennis Allen was a good choice because you don't lose the familiarity and the complete identity of the team when you hire somebody like Dennis Allen. My problem is I think you lose some of the current perspective when you hire somebody like Dennis Allen. Listen, you named the quarterback situation they got. I don't think Dennis Allen benefits none of those quarterbacks if they have to start any of them. I'm sorry. But Dennis Allen, I don't see him making Jameis Winston better. I don't see him making Taysom Hill better. And I damn sure don't see him making Trevor Siemian better. So my problem is if you don't make any of the quarterbacks better, you're going in, Alvin Kamara out here getting in trouble and he's injured half of the time. Hasn't really been right since he signed his contract. So, okay. Then you're going in with a, tentative situation with Michael Thomas because you never know when that could spill over to, him not playing or him being hurt again or him smacking somebody in the locker room. You know how that go. And then offensive line is I think the offensive line got a lot of promise, but you go to the defense that you built, now you got to hand that defense off to somebody else. It's kind of like that CEO that built a company all his life and then got to hand it off to his son, and his son running right into the ground. I just don't know if I think Dennis Allen could be a good head coach. I just think this situation might be a lot for him. Because with all that said, guess what the fans want? The same productivity they got out of Sean Payton. Guess what the fans want? The same productivity they got out of Drew Brees. Guess what the fans want? They want the same exact results that they got out the previous regime. And guess what the fans gonna get? None of that. Because the only thing I say about the Saints is this: they didn't caught the division at the right time. With the Bucks probably gonna have to figure some things out now. The Falcons been flopping around. I don't know when they're gonna change the logo from a bird to a fish because they've been flopping around lately. And then Carolina, we seen the flaming S show they became once Christian McCaffrey got hurt. So I do think they could be a player in the division. I just think it's gonna be a lot for Dennis Allen to fix up. But he's a professional, like you said, been around the team, been out, been able to see what he did wrong, can fix those things. Now he's back in the head coach spot. Much luck to him, but I think it's a lot. The reason I'm going with Mike McDaniels with the Dolphins is this. Listen, I'm not a fan of the owner either. I'm right with you with that ownership. I hope Flores sue the glasses off this clown. I hope he sue the degree off this clown because I know he got one. Man, listen, I hope he sent him back to another business for all I care. But with that said, listen, if you had to get Flores out, I'm not terribly mad at Mike McDaniels, and I got it. He got a paper-thin, 100-word essay for a resume. Got it. But like you said, some of these guys was looking the same way. Matt LaFleur when he first went to Green Bay. Like you said, Zach Taylor when he first went to Cincinnati. The NFL is getting younger, right? And you know how I feel about pairing younger coaches with young quarterbacks. I think that's the way to go, just me personally. And this is not a young guy that's leaving college, because I usually say go get him from college. But this is a guy that was in the NFL, and I got it, Kyle Shanahan deserves all the credit he get for that offense. I love Kyle Shanahan, so I'm not gonna sit here and say nothing bad about Kyle Shanahan at the moment. But Mike McDaniels. Think about this. Think about how many times we say Eric Bieniemy should get a head coaching job, and he works for Andy Reid. Like a lot, some people will tell you Andy Reid the one that run the offense. He's the offensive guy. Blah blah blah. But we still give Eric Bieniemy the credit, and I got it. He's been there longer, so you kind of got to be like, come on, bro. He been there for a while. Like he's doing something, or he would have been fired by now. But I just feel like maybe this might be fast. But this is right on par with the Dolphins ownership. This is what they do. Just move it along pretty fast. I think personally, when I watched that San Francisco offense work, I think Mike McDaniels, if he can get the same amount of, athleticism, credibility, accuracy, all these attributes that you have to use for a quarterback, if he can get that same amount out of Tua that he got out of Jimmy Garoppolo. Because remember this about Jimmy Garoppolo. He's somewhat like Tua. They both stay hurt. You never know when they're going to be available. But when Jimmy Garoppolo was on the field, he did some things. Let's keep it real. He did some things. We just seen him play in the NFC Championship game. And I think if he can get
he had a lot around him, though. I think that is the difference. Like that'll be another challenge for McDaniel. They have to build. If the idea is like Tua, if he can be what Jimmy G was or is or whatever, that's going to be challenging.
Better, but I'm just talking from his injury standpoint and probably ceiling standpoint. But yeah,
okay, but yeah, my point is just Tua is going to need more help. Like regardless of how good he is or he gets better, because like that's just they don't have enough around him from a running back and offensive line standpoint.
Well, hell, Brian Flores was getting paid to lose games anyway, so what's the draft pick looking like? You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't that what they was trying to do? Get more around him, I guess. I don't know. Because listen, I think the offense is maybe 2 offensive linemen and another wide receiver away from being dynamic. Like, you named it. You got Gesicki at tight end. I think he's awesome. Jalen Waddle, awesome. Devontae Parker when he wanted to. Like, he was just like hit or miss, whatever. You need a running back. I give you that. I'm not enamored with no running backs that they got back there. I'm sorry. Just don't like none of them, seriously. So, yeah, okay, you got to get you a running back. That's what free agency for. It's somebody that'll be out there for you if you don't draft. I think in the draft, we need to go offensive line. Let's just call it what it is. It's time to protect your quarterback. But I do think it's enough talent there where he can get something out of Tua. Because think about this. You got something out of Tua last year with these same exact guys. And a Squid Game offensive line. I feel like if you fix that offensive line, you can get something out of Tua. Now, I don't know how good Mike McDaniels is going to be at that, but I do think when you put the whole situation in totality, Mike McDaniels have a better situation. Because even he's not going to be expected to, like, take them to the promised land overnight. The fans in Miami ain't like, oh, we just were one of the best teams for a decade in the NFL, and we expect to be like that. That's what I think Dennis Allen is going to run into. It's the expectations that's going to be crazy. I don't think Mike McDaniels is going to run into that. And I damn sure don't think Lovie Smith going to run into that. So to tie it all together, yeah, I think Mike McDaniels is in the best situation. I agree with your point. I like what you said about Dennis Allen. I think he's in the second best. And I think we in full agreement that Lovie Smith is coming in at a hot third in this debate.
Just to take it one step further, would you say, because I think another part, like I know Dennis Allen is following perhaps a future Hall of Famer, if not, but maybe a fringe Hall of Famer like Sean Payton. I think he'll get Hall of Fame votes. Mm-hmm. But I think the Saints, at least you had last season, like the Saints saw, okay, like we don't have Drew Brees anymore. Like this may take some time to get the quarterback situation. Now you have a situation where, now we don't have Sean Payton either. So the Saints fans, they may like, and I do get what you're saying. It's hard following a legend. But I think on the other side for Mike McDaniel, he got hired coming off Brian Flores. Remember, back-to-back winning seasons. the Dolphins, like last year, they were supposed to be something. Didn't end up turning out that way. But they're like on the cusp, and that's a franchise that hasn't like won anything, in a long time. So to me, like if I'm a Miami fan, I'm like, okay, we just fired this dude who was actually looked like he was performing. Wouldn't the like next logical step? Okay, we hired this dude to get us to the next step.
Yeah, but do you get mad at? So do you put the onus on McDaniel's or the ownership? See, I think they already fed up with the ownership anyway. So I think with the Mike, and that's why I think Mike McDaniel's got a little more leash because I think the fans are like they're mad with the ownership. The ownership is the one effing this up. It ain't
Okay. So you
coach,
think if
you know what I'm
Mike McDaniel, you think if Mike McDaniel runs into trouble, he won't get the bullets from the fans, the owner will.
Right.
Okay.
Because the owner out here flopping around.
I got you. Okay.